And I research pain in the Manuel lab here on campus. So when we talk about pain, one of the biggest things that comes up nowadays is the opioid epidemic. Can't really think about pain and pain management without thinking about the effect that opioid addiction has had in recent times. It's estimated that combined pain and the opioid epidemic costs around $1 trillion to the healthcare system every year. And despite all this money spent on trying to prevent it, there are over 11 million people who are thought to misuse opioids, and last year 46,700 people died from opioid overdose. So despite all these negatives that opioids have, if you were to need surgery or develop some kind of pain condition and you went to a doctor, you would still be prescribed these opioids. And why is that? Well, because they are still our best option, even though we know more and more about how bad it can be. So what my lab tries to do is better understand pain back at the basic science level so that we can move forward in developing better treatments. So to start off, what exactly is pain? So I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the reflex of touching a hot stove and jerking your hand away. So this has a reflex loop in your spinal cord, but it also communicates a bunch of information to your brain. And these signals it sends to your brain informs your view of the world, what is safe, how hot is too hot, the types of things that are hot. And as you have these painful experiences, you learn to better protect yourself. So it's hard to understate how important pain is to your survival. And that makes it really difficult to treat because we can't just interrupt this system. Without it, we wouldn't be able to protect ourselves and we would get hurt very easily. And so we have to find a way around that. Unfortunately, in our lives, we can't always move away from the thing that is hurting us like the system intends for us to do. In cases of amputation, chemotherapy, or even mistakes made during surgery, you aren't able to move away from the thing that hurts you and you end up with nerve damage. This causes those signals of pain to keep going to your brain over and over again, even after the thing that's hurt you has been gone for months or years or ever. And doctors can't really control whether or not this goes away. Sometimes it heals, but a lot of times it doesn't. So we want to go back to the system, understand it better so that we can figure out how to stop this chronic pain condition. We wanted to look at part of this system that is affected by chronic pain, but less so by the day-to-day pain that we need and is helpful. And we identified this pathway in red. This region is known as the prelimbic cortex, and it has an increase in activity during or after a couple of weeks of this neuropathic pain. This connects to the PAG, which connects to the RBM, and these are just small regions of the pain, or small regions of the brain that are known to be involved in pain signaling. So experimentally, when we interrupt the connection between the first two regions, we see a decrease in pain, but it's not the kind of decrease that we would expect given what we know about this pathway already. And because of that, my lab hypothesizes an additional connection that circumvents that one and is allowing the pain to continue even when we've interrupted the known pathway. So in order to study this further, we use a rat pain model. So we start off by giving it a chronic pain condition that is similar to what someone might experience if they have a nerve accidentally damaged during a surgical procedure. We then go into the brain in our area of interest and inject small molecules that have two important functions. And the first is it fluoresces, which allows us to then look at these pieces of the brain under the microscope and see where they go. If this part of the brain is connecting to the region that we think it is, the RBM, the third region on that map, then it would fluoresce in that region, and if not, it wouldn't. And the second thing kind of works like a biological switch. It's a molecule that goes into the neuron, and then with drug treatments later on, we can turn this neuron on and off. Through this, we can start to understand how this pathway works better. If we turn the pathway on and more pain or less pain is experienced, we know that it is involved in pain, and that is a step in the right direction. And then furthermore, we can understand more about its function generally. When this pathway is interfered with, do we see things like addiction potential? Does it interfere with other things that are part of quality of life, such as sensation, hunger, and things that we need? Or is it something that contributes to the discomfort and unhappiness experienced in chronic pain and prevent us from feeling better even after the injury has been removed? And so this is the way that we figure out what individual parts of the the brain do. And we can start to tease apart the complicated network that pain is involved in and understand what parts of it hurt us and what parts of it don't. So we have really good treatments for pain already in opioids in that they're very effective and they don't, and they can basically get rid of the pain that we are experiencing. However, we've seen a lot of unacceptable side effects from the addiction, from gastrointestinal side effects, and they even can contribute to pain over the long run. One of the things being that with chronic treatment, people become even more sensitive to pain. And so, especially for the chronic pain model that we are looking at, they're not a good method at all. And so by going back to the basic research of the brain and trying to understand how pain works, we can begin to develop these treatments. I want to thank the Vanderall Lab and